Hey guys, this is Coach Bill with Weight Loss Made Easy Solution. Hoping everybody's having a great, what is today? Monday. How can I forget? Yesterday was Sunday, of course. Guys, a little excited here as I got some brand new research. And so before I explain to you what this research is about, um, the reason why I'm pretty excited about it is because I'm going to lay the foundation really quick here. And back in the early 50s for myself, and in the late 40s for Emily, when we were competing, going on stage, in order to get ready to go on stage, we had to do what we call a 12-week diet down. What that means is that we had to basically starve ourselves. We took multiple thermogenic supplements, which at the time really didn't care how it affected our hormones or how it affected our health. All we cared about was losing that body fat to get ready to go on stage. Well, those of you that have done that in the past, you guys know how unhealthy that 12-week diet down is and how brutal you actually are going through a starvation mode. And even though you're eating multiple meals per day, um, it's the type of meals, it's the frequent of the meals, and the portion of the meals, basically, and you're still training hard that is causing the issue with the hormones, especially. And the last 3 to 4 weeks were really brutal, and why so many of the competitors had issues with mood changing, because of course the hormones are being disrupted because of your lifestyle. And so, but we did. I mean, it actually worked to get our body fat down really low, and to get ready to go on stage. And of course, after the contest was over, what's the first thing you do? You go and you gorge yourselves, and within 3 to 4 weeks, you've added tons of fat, and you're retaining water, so you're really miserable that whole time. So it's just not a healthy way to do it. But then all of a sudden, this came out. It was about 18, 20 years ago that we did the 12-week diet down. Well, now I got some new science, and it actually shows, which makes it pretty exciting, how flexible it really is when it comes to eating certain foods. And basically, you're not starving yourself at all, and it actually showing great results in half the time, which means 6 weeks. And that's why I'm calling this topic looking to start getting bathing suit ready or a photo shoot ready, 6 week plan, new research. Because after reading the research and understanding more about the body now that I knew, 20, 30 years ago, it made a lot of sense. The thing is, you can't poke holes like people poke holes in my educating or my intermittent fasting, prolonged fasting, and primal eating. People always try to poke holes in it. You can't poke holes in something that's science proved. You can't deny it when there's too many different research sites saying the same thing. You just can't poke holes in it. But people are doing it anyway because I don't know why. But anyway, this particular study is really intriguing to me because it made a lot of sense as I read on through it, especially with the type of research and the people that they were doing or how they were structuring the research itself. So what the research was done by the Journal of Obesity, and I wrote down what the type of research they actually did. And so I'm going to read it right off my notes here. This is not coming from me, guys. This is coming from them. This is coming from the research site. And I'll actually have the research itself, the full-blown journal research, on a blog post that I did that I'll attach to this video. You guys can go to my YouTube channel, put in Bill Mabry, subscribe to it, and it'll be in the description section. Plus, there'll be more specific information about it. or you can go on my Weight Loss Made Easy Solution Facebook group page, private page. We've got a lot of good videos, downloads, and even fat burning recipes. This video will also have the blog post that will be in the description for you to view the whole specific part of it. But what the Journal of Obesity, the research that they did and what they found was they took a look at two different types of diets. Now you guys know that Emily and I teach about intermittent fasting, prolonged fasting. We combine it with primal eating, and we also combine it with hydrogen-rich water for better hydration to flush out inflammation. Well, here in this study, they took two groups. The first group was early time restriction eating, where the group ate, they had a 6-hour window to eat, and they fasted for 18 hours. And Emily and I pretty much, that's one of our protocols we do most of the time. But then they actually, and then at first, or what they did, the next group was a control group where they ate for 12 hours and fasted for 12 hours. That's a normal, what people do anyway. It's a controlled group. It's what they eat for 12 hours and then they sleep for 8 or 10 hours. So it's pretty close to the same. Now, what they were looking for is does one burn more fat than the other, or does one burn more calories than the other? Because people are so calorie minded that that's what they basically want to know, is how much calories they're burning per day, and that doesn't matter to us because science is already saying it's more about, think about what I'm about to say here. It's more about what you're burning. Are you burning your own stored body fat, or are you burning the calories from the foods you are eating, and you're not even dipping into your own body fat? See, that's the key. That's the whole key to this whole why intermittent fasting, prolonged fasting, and primal eating, combining it, is so successful, and why it's getting so popular amongst the health professionals and doctors, and especially for those that are trying to reverse type 2 diabetes and obesity. That's now proven by multiple, actually hundreds of different research. But anyway, and so the next group actually ate for 12 hours, and then they fasted for 12 hours. And so both groups, what they did, now both groups were controlled, and both groups ate the same amount of calories. Of course, different time slots, okay? The group that were doing the 18-hour fast ate their first meal at 8 a.m., they ate a second meal at 11 a.m., and ate their last meal at 2 p.m. Now, this is where I feel is the key factor on why this protocol is so successful, is that last meal at 2 o'clock. And I've known this for a long time. I just really haven't put it into a structure yet, although my wife really enjoys eating early anyway. So the group that was doing the time restricted, like I said, ate their first meal at 8 a.m., second meal at 11 a.m., and at 2 p.m. Now, some of you might be thinking, are they eating a primal meal? No, not really. But they're eating healthy. You know, they are doing a little bit of starchy carbs, which we don't do, but they are. So that's a pretty cool thing to know, especially in this test to know that you can do some starches. That's low glycemic starches, guys, not the refined processed starches or high sugar stuff. That's not what they did, okay? And then the other group, the 12-hour eating window and the 12-hour fasting, the other control group ate at 8 a.m., 2 p.m., and then they had their last meal at 8 p.m. at night. The goal of the study was to measure the metabolic flexibility and the hunger hormones and how much energy expenditure. That was the whole goal. Let's see what happens here. Let's see what they came up with. Now, what they found out, that when it came to energy expenditure, both groups expended the same amount of energy. So both group, throughout the day burned the same amount of calories, which is converted into energy. But what was interesting is the early timing restricted eating group burned a little more energy in the morning and less at night, whereas the group that did the 12-hour eating window or the 12-hour fasting burned less calories in the morning and more at night. That was kind of interesting, which makes it all even. That's why they're saying now that both protocols expended the same amount of energy or burned the same amount of calories. So now this is where it gets interesting, and this is where I kind of get a little excited about, because it's something I actually added to my protocol. And so this is what came out. They found a huge. Now this is important. You guys have heard me talk about this before in the past about burning your own body fat. Okay? They found a huge difference in what type of fuel they were burning for energy. Okay, so you guys know you got two types of fuels to burn, right? You remember that from my past videos? You've got your fat burning, fat that you burn for fuel, which is known as rocket fuel. And then you have your glucose or carbohydrate fuel. And the body is always going to go after the simplest and fastest, or the simplest and most energy to burn, and that's usually carbohydrates. Most of the public is they're carboholics. They eat a high amount of carbs. So the body's going to go after the carbohydrates to burn as fuel, and not the fat or your own stored fat. And so this is what was interesting, is the difference in the protocols to where the body was burning the energy from. Okay, the group that did the early timing restricted feeding group, who had their last meal at 2 p.m. and then started their fast, they were using their own stored body fat as fuel. And you know what? It makes a lot of sense. So if you're not eating from 2 o'clock p.m. that night, and you're still out running around, and you're still out burning energy, you're burning up a lot of your carbohydrates you have stored in your liver, glucose, and then around 8 or 9 or 10 o'clock at night, you still haven't had anything to eat since 2 o'clock p.m. that day, you're pretty much going to be running out of carbs or glucose to burn. And while you're sleeping, your body's going to switch over to fat. Well, if you're not having any calories for that many hours, then it's got to be burning some kind of fat, right? It's got to be burning your own body fat. And that's exactly what you're looking. And so it's just like it says here, the group who had the last meal at 2 p.m. and then started their fast, they were using their own stored body fat as fuel. Their fatty acid oxidation was significantly higher, not just a little bit, significantly. What this was telling the researchers, the early time restricted feeding group were still burning their own stored body fat while they were eating food. Well, that was kind of interesting too. I mean, so in other words, if we're eating a healthy, low glycemic meal, 8, 11, I think it was 8, 8, 11, and 2, that even though they were consuming calories, not only were they burning those calories they were consuming, or the starch or the glucose or carbs they were consuming, they were not only burning the carbohydrates as fuel, they were also burning some of their own body fat as fuel too. And I thought that was very interesting. Okay? So then, the body was burning more fat than carbohydrate. That's exactly what we talked about. That's what we want to do. Okay, it is the body's ability. See, that was the key. That the biggest thing that they figured out here is it was the body's ability to switch over from burning carbohydrates to burning fat in a split second. That's what they found out. The body could switch over to either or in a split second, and that's why they call it metabolic flexibility, because it's able to switch like that, and that's what you want to do. You want to be able to not only burn the food or the calories you're eating or the carbs you're eating, also want to burn your own body fat at the same time. But it all boils down to the same, it's type of food you're eating. It's all going to be based on that, guys. So don't get me wrong on that. It's not about, there's certain foods you can't, it'll disrupt this whole project here. And that's why they controlled it. So let's see what they say. So basically, what I did with this science is I developed a different kind of protocol for me and Emily. We started this, when did we start this? I think a week ago Monday I started this, and it's going to be a 6-week protocol plan, and we're going to pretend like we're going to be getting ready for a show, or we're going to go on a photo shoot, which Emily's going to be doing a photo shoot here soon. And so what we're going to do is we're going to implement this research into a protocol that I designed to where we're going to actually be eating our last meal 3 days a week at 2 o'clock. Now, the metabolic flexibility, you guys remember what I told you, how this protocol works? It's the flexibility. So yesterday was Father's Day, of course. And I actually waited till, instead of having a meal in the morning, I didn't. I just fasted all the way till around 2 o'clock yesterday. And I had 4 ribs, and I had some cornbread, and I had some other stuff. And obviously that's higher in starchy carbs than I normally use. And so, but I made that my last meal. So by Sunday, so I actually did... I actually did my 4th day of 2 p.m. eating Sunday because of what I ate, and I wanted to deplete all the carbs out of my liver before I went to the gym this morning. And obviously, because we're so fat adapted, it happens pretty fast for us. But today, I'm going to go ahead, and this is the metabolic flexibility. I'm going to go ahead, and we broke our fast this morning, or today after the gym at 1 o'clock. Kefir, a scoop of collagen powder, and 2 tablespoons of our veggie protein powder. That's what we broke our fast with. But I'm going to have my last meal again around 2 or 2:30 today, just to clean myself out. And I'm not going to have any calories after 2 or 2:30 today until 2 o'clock, or till about 1 or 2 o'clock tomorrow, to make sure I blow out whatever carbs I have sitting there that I don't want. I want to go back to burning my own body fat. So that's why that's why I was so excited about this research, because it actually is. And I'm hoping the way it seems it's going to work, and the way science is saying it's going to work. This might be the ticket to get ready for a show, or to get bathing suit ready, or get ready for a photo shoot in less than six weeks. So we'll see. But when you guys go to my YouTube channel, or when you go to my Weight Loss Midi Solution group Facebook page and join that page, I'll have this, like I said, I'll have the blog post in the description section. And I have I got 3 different science research that will be posted there, so you could see that this is legitimate. Okay? So guys, looking forward to giving you guys some updates on how this is going. This is our 2nd week on it, and so far I really like it. I like the way I feel. It's kind of, you kind of, after you do this for a while, and you do your last meal at 2 o'clock, it's really kind of hard to eat a meal at 4, 5, or 6, because you're going to bed on a full stomach, and I don't feel as good going to bed with food in my stomach. I'm feeling pretty good after my last meal at 2 or 2:30. Sometimes we'll go to 3, but don't eat anything after that. And actually, when it's time to go to bed, I'm feeling pretty good. And I think I've been waking up a little later instead of waking up so early in the morning. So I'm kind of excited to see how this 6 week goes. So we'll keep you guys posted. Okay, guys? So guys, I hope you saw some value in this. And like I said, if you want some information on our coaching, you can message me. Go to my Weight Loss Made Easy Solution Facebook group page. Join it. A lot of great training videos on there for what we teach. And so we'll be looking forward to you guys at the next video. You guys have a great day and stay safe.